For 22 years, he never missed a Monday. He trained half the people in that office. He knew every system, every client, every shortcut. He believed something simple. If I stay loyal, I'll stay safe. At 44, he had a mortgage, a daughter preparing for college, a retirement plan slowly building. He wasn't rich, but he was stable. Then one Tuesday afternoon, they called him into a room. 12 minutes later, 22 years were over. Not because he failed, not because he was lazy, but because the world moved, and he didn't. Let's call him David. David didn't chase promotions anymore. After 40, you stop chasing. You protect. He protected his routine, his paycheck, his title. Every morning looked the same. Same commute, same desk, same conversations about long-term plans. He believed experience made him untouchable. When younger hires came in, he smiled politely. They'll learn from me, he thought. When the company introduced automation software, he told himself, it's just a tool, and they still need me. But here's the quiet truth no one tells men over 40. Stability feels like security until it becomes stagnation. Comfort is warm, predictable, safe, and that's exactly why it's dangerous. Because the moment you stop evolving, you start expiring. It didn't collapse in one day. It eroded, quietly. First, the company hired younger staff. Not reckless, not loud, just faster. They asked sharper questions. They didn't care how things were done in 2008. David smiled. They'll understand eventually. Then the software upgrades began. Automation tools, process optimization, performance dashboards with real-time metrics. Meetings shifted tone. Less about loyalty, more about efficiency. He noticed something small. Fewer people stopped by his desk. Reports no longer required his approval. Tasks he once owned became shared systems. But instead of adjusting, he reassured himself. I've earned stability. Here's what many men don't realize after 40. The world rarely removes you suddenly. It reduces your relevance slowly. Pride makes it easy to ignore change. Experience can become a shield, and shields over time turn into walls. The warning signs weren't dramatic. They were subtle. And subtle is dangerous, because one day you wake up and realize you're still working hard, but no longer essential. And that realization never announces itself politely. On paper, he wasn't ruined. 3 months of severance, savings intact, retirement funds untouched. But bills don't care about paper. The mortgage drafted automatically. Insurance premiums increased without corporate coverage. College tuition deadlines didn't move. He opened spreadsheets. 6 months safe. 8 if disciplined. After that, uncertainty. The pressure wasn't panic. It was responsibility. After 40, you are not earning just for yourself. You are the buffer between your family and instability. When that buffer shrinks, even slightly, you feel it in your chest before the numbers confirm it. He cut subscriptions, delayed upgrades, watched spending more closely than he had in years. Not because he was reckless before, because he had assumed stability would continue. That assumption was gone. And without that assumption, every dollar felt heavier. Then came the realization most men avoid. The company didn't betray him. It optimized. Businesses don't reward loyalty. They reward leverage. For years, David believed tenure created security. It it doesn't. Tenure increases cost. If your value grows slower than your compensation, you become overhead. That's not cruelty. That's math. After 40, you are not paid for history. You are paid for how difficult you are to replace. Replacement becomes easier the moment growth stops. David didn't lose his job because he aged. He lost leverage because he stopped updating himself. Experience without adaptation becomes maintenance, and maintenance is easier to automate. That realization hurt, but it was clean. No villains, no excuses, just clarity. So he changed the question. Not who will hire me, but where am I still hard to replace? He listed what he actually knew: operational inefficiencies, team training gaps, process redesign. Instead of chasing titles, he chased usefulness. He enrolled in certification programs, reconnected with former contacts, accepted short-term consulting projects, small steps, deliberate steps. After 40, rebuilding isn't dramatic, it's disciplined. Confidence didn't return instantly. It rebuilt with proof. Each project completed, each skill upgraded, each conversation that opened a door. The world hadn't targeted him. It had moved forward. This time, he chose not to stand still. If you are over 40 and still employed today, understand this clearly. Relevance is rented. It is not owned. And rent is due daily. No one plans to become replaceable. They just stop increasing leverage. Comfort feels earned. Routine feels responsible. But neither guarantees durability. The market does not measure loyalty. It measures usefulness. And usefulness requires movement, not panic. Movement. You don't need to reinvent your life tonight. But you cannot assume tomorrow will resemble yesterday. Security is no longer about tenure. It is about adaptability. If your position disappeared tomorrow, would your skills create value somewhere else? That is the real question. If you refuse to let comfort quietly reduce your leverage, comment 1 below. Not for motivation, as a decision.